Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to the Garden Report. We're inside Fiserv Forum.
Pre-game edition, Bobby. Let's go.
Before Game 4, probably the biggest game of the Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown era. We'll have more coverage of the game throughout on Celtics CLNS Media. First, though, we're going to talk about the big news of the morning. Adrian Wojnarowski reporting Nikola Jokic, as expected, I think, is going to win back-to-back MVPs. Winner of this year's vote, and looking at some of the early ballots, I'm not surprised. Ton of Jokic, a little bit of Embiid. I think I saw 1 or 2 votes for Giannis, so that's sort of the outcome I'm expecting. Jokic, heavy first place winner. Embiid second, most of the second place votes. Giannis probably a distant third. But there is out there on whether it's the fan bases, Twitter sphere, even among some media members, controversy over this vote. Whether it was the Nuggets record, the stats that Jokic put out there, or even just a strong love for Joel Embiid's season and what he did with Philadelphia. Some people think he was the fitting candidate to get it done. I was Jokic, reluctantly at first. I thought by the end of the season he was a slam dunk to win it. Where were you on it?
I'm the same way, Bobby. I was a big Joel Embiid guy, and it's like maybe the last month of the season, I feel like it shifted over to Jokic. A lot of people are going to feel that way about maybe other guys getting robbed because the Denver Nuggets weren't the first, second, or third best team in the Western Conference. But when you think about everything that they had to deal with, the hurdles that they had to deal with, and where Jokic was constantly that guy on both ends of the floor, I think it's well-deserved, right? I don't think it's one of those things where it was like a toss-up, because when you look at the way that the 76ers fluctuated in the Eastern Conference, I think that really hurt Joel Embiid, but he was pretty close. I mean, out of all the years, I think this is the one year where he was as close as others, but I think that when you compare him to Jokic and the kind of years that those two had, I think the Jokic gets the advantage because of what he did at the very end, and was able to push that team into the playoffs and really put them in decent shape, considering everything that they had to deal with, you know?
I thought it was a closer vote last year. Again, last year was Jokic and Embiid, same kind of deal. Jokic didn't have as good of a record, had more help, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, those guys were out this time
That's the difference
around.
This year, definitely, right. Yeah.
And Embiid ends up picking up James Harden mid-season, which matters. I do give Embiid some credit for carrying through when Ben Simmons was out. And listen, if I was going to pick one of those two players to start a team with, I'd go Embiid. Better defender, more prolific scorer, and he's a great passer in his own right. But this is MVP, and this is where people get caught up.
Yeah.
Playoffs don't matter.
Yeah,
Throw that all out.
Right.
We find out after Jokic gets eliminated pretty handily, and that drives some people crazy. Same deal with Giannis a couple years ago. And then secondly, you're basically carrying a team as Nikola Jokic. You look at his team, nobody. Will Barton, Austin Rivers, Campazzo, Aaron Gordon's all right.
It's a thin supporting cast, yeah.
And then the numbers are just insane.
Yeah.
First, points, rebounds, assists, add those up for Jokic. No one's ever done the totals that he's done in those categories. So pretty convincing evidence. How about the guy behind us, Giannis? I feel like he's going to go a little under the radar in the voting here. Another fantastic year from him.
Yeah, no question. I mean, for what he did, look, almost averaging 30 points, being the force that he is, being the returning champion and not having that hangover linger. I think that there's something to be said about that. But where do you think Jayson Tatum would fall? I know Celtics fans would want to say he's top 5, and I think they would have a really strong case when you consider the turnaround, how much of a force he is on defense now, because that's the part of the Celtics identity that got them to where they are, right? That's the part of their game that made them a second seed when no one expected it, that quick turnaround. And I think Jayson Tatum had a lot to do with that as well. And of course, what he means to the offense. He's the top 5. What do you think? He's a top 5 guy, in my opinion.
I had him 4th. The defense, to me, carries a ton of weight. None of those guys up at the top, except for Embiid and Giannis. And Jokic had a big defensive season, too. Big reason I picked him to win compared to Embiid last year. But the defense for Tatum carries him over Devin Booker, Ja Morant, some of those other contenders. If I had to guess, I think he's going to end up 5th just because Devin Booker had that ridiculous 65-win season with the Suns there.
As long as he's top 5. I think
but those two should be 4 or 5, in my opinion.
I agree with that. That's fair. I think that's accurate, but I don't think a lot of people.
Big step for Tatum.
It's a huge step for Tatum. I mean, I was just going to say, I don't think a lot of people would have predicted that, 6 months ago when this team was, people were wondering if he could get along with Jaylen Brown, or if there was some sort of switch that needed to happen for the, foreseeable future. And I think he silenced all his doubters,
He's going to need a big one in this one to affirm that he's part of the deserving of being in that vote hierarchy. We'll get the full vote soon. For now, Adrian Wojnarowski reporting Nikola Jokic is the 2022 NBA MVP. Game 4 coming up. Biggest game of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown's career? I think so. We'll have all the coverage throughout and after on CLNS Media, brought to you by HelloFresh. HelloFresh.com/playoff16. Get yourself 16 free meals, 3 free gifts. HelloFresh.com/playoff16, America's #1 meal kit. We'll talk to you after the game. Josue Pavon, Manning, inside Fiserv Forum.